The OSR used to feel like a tavern, much like this place. Loud, messy, but everyone was drinking from the same keg. And then Shadowdark walked in, and half the crowd started arguing what was really old school. Initial Kickstarter did 1.3. Western Reaches did $2.7 million. I'll repeat that in case you didn't quite catch it. That's $2.7 million on Kickstarter. Twice what the initial Kickstarter did. About $4 million in total between the two. This isn't just a win. It's a full-blown cultural event. You can be damn well sure that WotC noticed. So the question tonight, did Shadowdark strengthen the OSR? Or did it split it wide open? So, a little background on this, right? Before Shadowdark, the OSR was a cozy little corner on the internet. DIY everything. Blog posts that doubled as rule books and supplements and random table generation. Zines printed on somebody's work or school copier. That's what the OSR was. To extent, still is. And there were debates, sure. THACO diehards versus BX believers. But it was all part of the same campfire. The same people, even if they had different opinions, were breaking bread with each other. And then one day the torches got brighter and the shadows got darker, or however you want to put it, because Kelsey Dion and the Arcane Library, they launched the Shadowdark RPG. It's a clean, beautiful, gorgeous, modernized, old school game with the 5e engine, advantage, disadvantage, but with old school soul. And that initial Kickstarter got exactly like $1.36 million, over 28,000 backers. That's not just a mic drop. That's the whole club just staring, because it was real. And we had the OSE before that. But Shadowdark bridged that gap. The speed and grit of OSR play, the accessibility of 5e. Basically, old school got a new professional makeover. And just like that, people were choosing sides. Innovation versus purity, polish versus punk. And there was the, she didn't pay her dues because she wasn't in the old school. She did pay her dues. She just happened to pay it by publishing for 5e, because that's admittedly where the money was. So, two camps essentially formed fairly fast. You got the innovators, that this is the next evolution, fast, deadly, and beautiful. And then you got the purists, right? This is too slick, too 5e. Advantage, disadvantage. Too corporate. That's not the OSR I signed up for. Now, I understand the arguments. I do. And it's not a clone. It's more of a later generation simulacrum. But now it's not even about mechanics necessarily. It's about identity, right? We got the who owns old school. It's a good question, right? The folks keeping the zine spirit alive. And did I pronounce that right? I know the zines. I tend to say zine, but everybody in my group and in my Tavern Heroes told me that it's like a zine for their zine, so I was going to correct it. Or the ones expanding it for a wider audience, people that are doing things like Shadowdark, right? Is that where does it lie? Or does it lie in both camps? Do both camps have a point? Can both sides be right? And the OSR didn't generally have gatekeepers. Maybe at your table you did, certainly. And there were those that were on BX, and I only play the original rules. I don't play the clones or the simulacrums. And then you had those that, this is swords and wizardry with the unified sim throws. That's just too far away, right? So there was some minor gatekeeping, but now we've probably got brand managers, right? Now, meanwhile, here in our corner of the universe, in our tavern, the minions just keep rolling dice and arguing about descending AC like nothing ever happened. So, it's proof that while everyone else is shouting about purity tests, the true OSR spirit is alive and well, maybe covered in pizza grease and Cheeto fingers, but we do what we do. So, here's where we spill the beer, right? The money, it changed things, right? Before Shadowdark, OSR Kickstarters were a few thousand here, maybe 50 grand there. And I'm not talking about early Kickstarter days when you could do a potato salad recipe and earn hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. Shadowdark, the initial Shadowdark Kickstarter raised over $1 million. And people realized this isn't just a hobby. Not for everyone, right? For me, it's a hobby. Maybe for you, it's a hobby. For most of the people that I know in our community, it's a hobby. But I do know a few that make a living off this. And then there are people like Kelsey who are blessed to, I don't know, have an industry virtually out of this. And that ruffled a few feathers. And then the sequel, which raised essentially twice the amount of money, poured ale on the fire. And yes, I know that between the two, that's about $4 million. No, Kelsey and the Arcane Library didn't walk away with $4 million. They had to give Kickstarter their share, and the payment processor their share, and the tax man their share, and pay for everything. But there was a pretty penny made on this. And that changes a lot of people's equations, right? Earlier this year, the Arcane Library launched the Western Reaches. I backed. I was all in. It blew past every expectation, probably even Kelsey's. $2.7 million, nearly 15,000. I almost said 1,500. 15,000 backers. A second strike of lightning. Shadowdark is legit, right? That's not beginner's luck. That's the proof of staying power. Love it. Hate it. Shadowdark isn't a fluke. I'm ready to reach over to my right and pull it off my shelf, but I probably have to stand up to reach and get it. It's a beautiful, beautiful book. And it's a movement inside a movement. It's within the OSR, and I know those go, oh, it's not. No, it is. It certainly is. But it's got its own piece of that pie. And that's probably why people are nervous, because success changes things. See, it's no longer the little guy just making cool stuff, right? I mean, even on this channel, go to the post section, you can download free tables of minor magic weapons and stuff, and if you're a member, you can grab more. But now the OSR is becoming, to some extent, a full-fledged brand. Go to Drive-Thru RPG. People want OSR as a selling point. There is no way in hell Zweihander is OSR But it's OSR because that pitch sells. It's a full-fledged brand in an indie space that's built on Revolution, and now it's becoming, to some extent, corporate. Shadowdark didn't kill the OSR. It's not going to kill the OSR. But it's revealed how big it's become because the OSR had to get bigger to encompass Shadowdark to an extent. And there's probably no single definition anymore. It's just I don't know. I don't want to say a smorgasbord, maybe constellation of styles. Grimy dungeon crawls, sleek systems, everything in between. You twist it, you make it. You got Dragon Slayer, you got OSC. You can go back to Labyrinth Lord. You got Swords of Wizardry Complete with the new edition. You got Osric with a new edition. There's many pieces to this. Some people crave the chaos. Others want the polish. Both are valid. Both are part of the legacy. There's no such thing as bad, wrong, fun. And I know some people want to put that into the OSR. There isn't. The OSR isn't being divided. Maybe it's multi-classing. I don't think it's dual classing. I think it's probably multi-classing. But like any multi-class, it's complicated. There's advantages and disadvantages, but you wouldn't do it if the advantages didn't outweigh the disadvantages. So, whether you love it or hate it, Shadowdark brought more eyes to OSR than anything in the past decade. You can sneer at the numbers, but $4 million speaks for itself. And think of those old numbers that WotC wanted from the OGL and what they wanted for their cut. That money is legit. That money is real. This means that people are playing. All right? People playing Shadowdark are going to get experience, or they're going to get the opportunity to see games like the OSC or Dragon Slayer, DCC. So, if Shadowdark brought you into the OSR, welcome to the Tavern. Grab a stool, meet the minions, become part of the community, pour yourself a drink. I want to hear your thoughts. Is Shadowdark the future of the OSR? Is it a flashy cousin from the city? Drop your take below. Hit the like button if you've rolled initiative at any time in the past. Subscribe for more old school talk from your friendly neighborhood bartender. And until next time, keep your dice honest and your tankard full, and let me know what you want from this channel.